Thanks for joining me today. How you doing?
Good, good. Thank you for having me on.
Where you are in 2024, current projects, and kind of like go from there and pivot into how that kind of like sinks into the hustle wing community.
You're a quality editor if it only takes you a day or two. I love it. Not me. It
Um,
takes me a while.
Jeff, Jeff, no, Jeff, I use AI. No, Jeff, no.
What you guys do in your community, a lot easier to do something now to make money for yourself, which I think is the ultimate, to me, is kind of where we all want to get, is like in some way have some sort of say in how we make a living and how we provide for our families. Personally, I think everybody wants that. I think, it's harder. It's obviously hard to achieve, but I think now with the tools that are available, there's a lot more available than there used to be.
Me from Johannesburg, and you're where you based?
Lincoln, Nebraska. Lincoln, Nebraska.
Is it in the Bible Belt?
Yeah, wow. I haven't heard that term in a while. Yeah, love it. Yes. I think it's smack dab in the middle of it. I'll give you the shortened version of how we came to Tiiga and how, where we're at now. So, Tiiga, which means a tree of life, and you're actually probably familiar with the Baobab tree, but throughout Africa, the Baobab tree is known as the tree of life. And so, we actually take that from a product standpoint. We take that ingredient from the baobab tree. It's the baobab fruit, which is naturally powdered. And then we combine it and make a gut health plus hydration drink mix. So what it does is you literally just drop it right into a glass of water, stir it up, shake it up, and then you can drink it. And it actually has 5 grams of prebiotic fiber from that raw and processed baobab fruit as the main ingredient. And so we've been doing it in stick pack form for the last 3 years-ish, a little over 3 years. And 2024 is exciting because we're going to go to a bulk format. We're reformatting or reformulating the product as well to kind of really position ourselves more in the gut health space moving forward. So for listeners, the gut health industry has kind of been the back burner of everything. People have been focused on protein for the last 20 years. Before that, it was low fat or low sugar, right? Like there's been all these kind of fads, but what research is kind of showing is that your gut health and the gut brain connection is the key to most of your energy, most of your wellness. And they actually have tested things like on rats, literally taking we'll say a bad microbiome and putting a good microbiome in, and they'll literally feel better and be better right afterward. Things like that, as crazy as that. So that's from the scientific side. Why the heck do we create a product that is focused on gut health and prebiotic fiber from a baobab fruit? We started this because my co-founder is actually from West Africa in Burkina Faso. He was on a Fulbright scholarship here at Nebraska, and we became really good friends while I was coaching baseball at the university as well. So I was going to school and coaching baseball. He was in graduate school with me. And so he actually introduced me to the fruit. We had all known it from, like, in the US, the Lion King. I suppose everybody has Lion King, but the US, especially, like the fruit that Rafiki wipes on Simba is the baobab fruit. And so we had known it that way, but never knew that you could eat it, that it was really good for you, that it did all these things from the tree standpoint. And so there was a unique opportunity. It's one of the only products that grows wild, is wild harvested, and it's locally owned by the communities. It's not owned by some large corporation. And so we saw a real niche in the sense that, one, we could provide an income for people, an income opportunity for people in those regions. And then we could provide a beneficial product that doesn't have to be processed, especially like at the beginning, it was for sports. That was a natural product versus the sugar-based kind of health products. What's happened over 3 years is that we've learned the gut health aspect is that much more beneficial, and it also really solves a problem for our consumers. And so I would say it's not a full pivot per se, because we've always been kind of talking from both sides, but we're really focusing on how the gut brain connection, the gut health is the key component, and we can do this with that natural baobab fruit powder. But from the team aspect, we're pretty small team from the core team, which we're really a few of us here in Lincoln. And then most of everything that we do is with contractors of some sort, which is pretty necessary. So from manufacturing standpoint, we co-manufacture. we utilize most of our design and those types of teams, marketing, outside help. And then from sampling programs that we do in stores, investors are obviously outside of your company. Anybody else that we've kind of partnered with, I would say sales. Sales is mostly internal, but that's an interesting area, especially moving forward in affiliate programs, online sales, things like that side, as well as the back end customer service of sales is a really unique area that I think we're starting to really look at as a bigger play. Kind of in this space, hosting in certain ways, creating connections to meet with the people that can talk to what we do. So a big area that we started to look at was kind of partnering and meeting with gastroenterologists, meeting with microbiome specialists, dietitians, like people that understand our industry and understand the value of a product's benefit to the consumer, and having them speak, and then trying to help get that out to other people and kind of spread the word that way. Design, digital design and digital back work, that's a big one. I think that I imagine your community, like front end design as well as back end design, developer wise, is a big deal. That's what we're always kind of looking for. That's been the hardest one. You can't really keep that in house the way that you'd hope, versus other things. So we could be on here for a while. I don't think.
Yeah, no.
I would call it kind of what I would kind of call it like and you've probably seen this. You guys probably talk about this a lot. It's gone past its heyday of literally you post something and you can sell something. I think there's a lot. I mean, maybe it's consumers are a lot smarter. There's a lot more to selling a product than there was before. It might be from a video aspect. It might be from where you market it. It might be how you market it. From before it was pretty and very like polished, and now it's organic versus last year it was organic for a short period of time. Now it's longer form of the organic. Like, it's really interesting. So I think from a brand standpoint, and I think even most of the marketing people don't know, and it's kind of like a weird space. So it's been very interesting from a marketing standpoint. I will say Facebook, ironically, of all of them, seems to at least still control enough of the data of their users to have a better grasp of who is a potential consumer. That's what we've seen out of everybody. And that's just our personal opinion on that. But it's definitely an interesting landscape right now. And I think even the platforms are trying to figure out, as they all try to take away something, how do you keep marketers on these platforms when really you're making people pay more to achieve less? So we focus on the US, but I agree. I think that's going to be interesting as we continue to move forward in the e-commerce space, is really being able to broach communicating with customers everywhere and selling to them and how you need to sell to them. I think you have to be pretty laser focused on the hard part with selling everywhere is that product market fit changes everywhere, right? So like our style of product here might not be the same style that we need to sell the product in Thailand, right? Or that we need to sell in India. And so I think you have to be pretty laser focused, at least with the messaging in that area. Because actually that's, out of all the things that I've seen that has helped, is actually just basic messaging, not the fancy, like you said, the fancy content, the all A, B, and C. It's like, generally people buy something, one, because it's either popular and they just heard about it and now they got to buy it because everybody else is. Or the other way that people are buying stuff, it seems to be, is you have a problem you actually want to solve, right? Like most of the things I purchase are like, hey, I have this problem. What's the product that comes up and solves it? And then it's just a matter of how does that person's workflow end up purchasing your product versus someone else's? And are you hitting them in all those points? Kind of what you're talking about, but I think in a different way. To me, it's like, what is your workflow? Like in the States, I think it's still big where Amazon is the workflow for a lot of people to discover or at least get the first branch into a product. And then if you can find a way to infiltrate in some way, right, where you become, they've stopped in on your website somehow or whatever, and then all of a sudden you start to be around them more, potentially that works. But like I said, this is not my area of expertise. I've learned this over the last 3 years, and I've seen what does and doesn't work. Generally, but it's still, I think it's changing at such a quick and rapid pace. I don't think the experts are experts anymore. I mean, I don't know how you feel about that, but I think it's hard to be an expert now because it is so difficult and different every 6 months. I think just the way that people are consuming content and information and purchasing I mean, look at TikTok Shop. How long has TikTok Shop been around? I don't know, like 8 months for real, like 6 months. They just went hard, and now all sorts of things are being sold on TikTok Shop versus they weren't. And then like Instagram, Facebook was trying to do the same. I think people still generally feel most comfortable. It seems like either on the website in the US or on Amazon seem to be the two that I've seen that are the most comfortable for people. And generally Amazon's because they know they're going to get it in 2 days, and then the checkout process seems to be where people feel the most comfortable, is that it's just a convenient checkout process that they're used to. Whereas your website's kind of, some people, it takes 4 days to get to you or whatever. So. Yeah, that's a good question. Probably everything. It's I would say mainly the back end for us. The big one is little minute differentiations for the back end of Shopify. We use Shopify, but there's a lot of little back end details that we would like to set up in a better way, that take the development side. I'm trying to think what else is right now. We're pretty like laser focused, so there isn't a lot that we're looking for at the moment, but that was what we were really looking for. We found a good design team. So like I said, usually we'd always say like, hey, more designers, photographers, videographers, all that. We're pretty, that might be another one, would be in the photography, videography landscape is another one that I think brands are always looking for good videographers, photographers, for sure. They're always looking for, like I said, some sort of development at the same time. Data analytics, not so much, because I don't think that, I mean, it's extremely important, but I think we're able to get enough right now. That would be something probably down the road that we'd really be looking at. And what else? I don't know what to describe the other one that I might be looking for, but it's more from a data scraping capabilities. And I don't know what I don't think it's called data scraping for what I'm looking for, but it's a lot of like, it's a lot of taking specific industries and finding contact information for that set of data, that data set, which I don't know what that's called. You might have a better idea to describe that, but
yeah. Okay. The question is Star Wars or Star Trek, and why?
Oh, that's not even a question. That's not even a question. Star Wars.
No, it is. I don't know. It's such a question. Yeah.
No. I know it's a question, but for me, the answer is not a question to even worry about. Yeah, I don't even think I've ever watched one Star Trek. I will say this: when Star Trek went to its Star Trek that I don't think people liked in the movies, that were Star Trek people from the Star Trek TV show, they might have. I don't know that. I don't know what happened then, but I'm a Star Wars through and through. Why? Oh man, I'm gonna be honest. The first three. That's why. Like in the 70s, making. I don't know. I don't even know the motion. Like they had things that should not have existed in the 70s, and then the storylines. I don't know. I just love Star Wars. I can watch all three at once. I literally have watched all three just in a day. It's not even close. Star Wars for sure. The newer ones, not so much though. So I don't know. Like everything after the first three, I don't know. I might have gone. I'm going to even long win this answer. I'm going to say the first Star Wars 3 movies, and then potentially the Star Trek movies. I mean, maybe I'm just a movie guy. That could be it. So.
Well, you know what? I mean, look, for me, it's Star Wars all the way because I am a Jedi. And I've got a dog. He's a pug. His name is Darth. It's something I grew up with. And I asked that question because it kind of like immediately puts people into a very interesting position. And so far, not one person has said Star Trek. But you've given the most in-depth answer, so I thank you for that.
Yeah. I mean, the Star Trek people though. I don't know. They're there. There's a lot. So
no,
there's got to be a reason.
And they're frightening. they're frightening, and they back end developers. They know Java, you know. So
I think that's a great way to assess it. Ironically, is that I think Star Wars is dreamers, and I think you talk to a lot of dreamers and people that want to put in this effort. Like Star Wars is like light speed to another planet, right? And it's like, that's. I mean, I guess Star Trek does that, but Star Trek's more about the situation room, right? Like the strategies within that situation. Even though I haven't watched very much of it, Jesus, I probably shouldn't be saying that, but I think there's something.
No, but that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, there's something adventurous about Star Wars. That's like the whole point. And then there's other. I was just listening to somebody talk about the other day Star Wars and the whole idea of the oppressor and oppressed and things like that. I thought that was interesting. I don't find that Star Wars was that. I find it was just like you have this big overarching system that people are trying to fight back against or something. I don't know. And that wasn't even my favorite part, to be honest. It was like the lightsabers and like it was all the other things. So each person has their differences why they like it. So anyway. Good question.
Well, yeah, I'll be honest with you. Being a Harrison Ford fan, I mean, why not? I did pause the new Indiana Jones 20 minutes in because I was like, it's making me sad in my heart. I just wasn't really. Something was wrong. Yeah,
I think we're close to the same age, though. I think we're close to the same age, Glenn, and I think that happens because I think you watch stuff when you're young and you're like, "All right, this is it." Like I'm 12, I'm 14, I'm like, I can do this, whatever. This guy's awesome, and then they're 80, like he's 80, and it's like,
yeah, no.
I mean, and his other shows are amazing. But have you watched Shrinking? Have you watched him on Shrinking? Have you watched him on 1923? He's good on all of it.
You know what? I'm gonna watch 1923. It's in my watch list. But in Shrinking, I thought he was phenomenal. He's so funny, and he nails the setups to Jason so well. And it kind of caught me off guard how good he was and how funny he actually is. But Shrinking was phenomenal. What a gem of
yeah.
If you haven't Shrinking, this podcast recommends Shrinking.
Oh, too good. Well, thank you for having me on, Glenn. I appreciate it. And anything I can do on my end, I'd love to help.